Yeah, it's pretty certain, isn't it? Trump versus Biden, a rematch coming in November. Joining me live from the University of North Carolina, Professor of Political Science, Martha Kropf. It was a pretty powerful State of the Union, Martha. It surprised a lot of people as well.
Oh, I think there was a lot of concern about Biden's age, and for some reason, very little concern about Trump's age. But I think with this speech, he really did what he had to do. He was certainly a lot more energetic. I would say a pitch or two or a notch or two higher volume in his voice, and also was willing to share some interchange with Republicans on the floor. So I definitely think he did what he needed to do here.
He channeled a bit of Rocky Balboa. He channeled a bit of Martin Luther King Jr. It was powerful. It was really well written too. He said, "I've been called too young. I've been called too old." It's going to be interesting to see what reverberates out of that. Meanwhile, Donald Trump was trying to react on social media, and he had trouble with his connection, so that wasn't getting through.
Right, there was apparently some sort of technical problem going on with the main social media site that he wanted to use.
Yep. So
So, I mean, that's a main way that Trump has been communicating with his supporters. So that was not ideal for him, I think.
absolutely. Now, it's been a pretty strong political week for Donald Trump and Nikki Haley withdrawing.
Yeah, well, what's interesting about the Nikki Haley withdrawal is also that right after that, Mitch McConnell endorsed Trump. Uh, there were many observers who thought that Nikki Haley might actually stick it out until the end because former President Trump has so many legal issues. And maybe at the convention it would come back to her. But I think that she it just saw the writing on the wall. Trump has a lot of popularity here, particularly among primary voters who tend to be a pretty small subset. But if you look across the Republican sort of establishment, they seem to have decided that Trump is going to be their candidate. So I think Haley just didn't have much of a choice.
And he had a win in the Supreme Court, Donald Trump.
He did. It looks like they're going to be moving back the some of the proceedings, and so he wouldn't actually get if he was going to be convicted. So there are a number of cases. I'm sure you all can't keep track of all of the cases that are there against Donald Trump. I can assure you that we Americans also can't seem to keep track of all of those proceedings against him. But this one in particular, it's going to be pushed back, so he wouldn't be convicted until after the election. And so we would be in, I suppose if he won the election, we'd have some constitutional issues. But what's really interesting is though some of the civil cases have come back and bit him in the butt. And he owes something close to $500 million in penalties. And just paid yesterday $96 million as a bond toward the Jean Carroll case, where he was, I guess a polite way of saying that is he was very insulting toward her, saying that, and this is the woman he lost a civil case about her,
Yeah.
apparently. So he has a large number of legal fees. And so the real question is, does he have that money or does he not have that money? Is it going to come from the Republican establishment? And could it possibly hurt some of the Republican candidates on down the ballot if the Republican Party has to prop him up in any way?
Look, as a professor of political science, and we're done for time, Martha, but do you look at this whole idea of Donald Trump standing again with all the pending litigation, the 91 charges, and find it a little amazing?
I do. And I will say, as a specialist in elections and voting behavior and election science, I would say the sort of feels like he is pushing back on democracy. And I'll tell you that bothers me. And certainly I'm surprised that he's coming back and so popular.
Yeah, we'll have to watch your space with interest. November
We will.
is still quite a way away. Thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome. Have a nice day.
Yeah, you too, my friend.